Welcome to Search Party, the podcast where we swap stories on what's working in search right now and what's worth trying next. I'm your host, Amanda Milligan, and I'm joined by the inspiring Pam Didner. She is a B2B marketing consultant, conference speaker, and author of the book, The Modern AI Marketer in the GPT Era, How to Get Ahead with AI and Advance Your Digital Marketing Skills. Pam, thank you so much for being here.
Amanda, thank you so much for having me.
Pam, you are a B2B expert.
Overrated, completely overrated, but okay, whatever.
I saw you speaking, I think it was Marketing Prof's B2B forum like many years ago. And I remember just my jaw was on the floor of
So kind.
it truly though, because you were so much more actionable than a lot of presentations that I see. Like you were just sitting there unloading a playbook. I think it was sales enablement.
Yeah,
And
it
I was like,
is.
man, that was unreal. And so I'm really excited to pick your brain today, not about sales enablement this time, but more along the lines of AI visibility from the B2B lens. Okay. So, thinking about how B2B brands have maybe a bit of a different challenge in front of them or a different way, not even a challenge, but just a different way of approaching it than B2C brands would. Um, so does anything immediately come to mind in terms of any broader differences you've seen with your clients when you're like, okay, let's build out this visibility strategy across LLMs?
So I started, just be very transparent, everyone. Actually started working on AEO and AI SEO in July 2025. And I look at my own website, and just like you said, you're like, hey, you know what, Pam, you always share like very actionable stuff. That's because I'm a practitioner. So I usually try to test stuff like on myself first before I go out and tell people, you should do this, you know? So most of the time I want to test it and see how that works, say on me. And as you know, yes, I'm a speaker, I'm an author, and I'm actually a marketing consultant. So a lot of time I have to do biz dev. And one of the biz devs that I do is I optimize the heck out of my website, which is very important, which is one of your favorite topic, SEO, before AI kind of like takes over. And so I optimize my website. I work very hard, not just with my web developers, but also SEO person, my whole team, like creating content. Everything is really tailored for SEO. Then, of course, AI comes along, and I was like, okay, I need to be recommended. I need to be recommended by AI, right? When somebody search like, okay, B2B marketing speaker in the US, I would like my name to show up. Or it's like, okay, top B2B marketing consultant, right? And I would like my name to show up. And you have to say top B2B marketing consultant, comma, not agencies. Otherwise, they will spill out all the agencies and to you. But when you say not agencies, and they will focus on individual marketing consultants. So I started kind of looking to AEO, what I should do on my website. And of course, a lot of people were like, oh, you need to be on Reddit. Okay, B2B, seriously, do you have to? And some like, you need to be on Quora. Okay, seriously, B2B, do you have to? You need to be on Twitter. That's because the large language model, they pull information from all those like database or data sets. But I'm not I'm not on Reddit. I'm not on Quora, and I'm not planning to do that. So from that point of view, it's different from what industry that is suggesting, if you will. And then I said, all right, Pam, what can you do? Well, the things that I have a total control is my website.
Yeah.
And I want to say that to everyone. If you actually in the B2B side and you have your website, you need to pay attention to your website because that's yours. That's your virtual space. That's your virtual home. Make the best you can. Not necessarily like, okay, try to be on Reddit, try to be on X, and try to be on everything. No, make the best effort to actually optimize the heck out of your website first. Okay, to me, that's the fundamental. That's the foundation of everything digital marketing.
Yeah.
And you can disagree with me, everyone. No hard feeling. But from my perspective, that should be something that you have to do, as a basic.
Yeah. Like you said, it's what you have control over. That you can control all of the owned media side of things. You can't change, if LinkedIn changes their algorithm or, whatever. It's like it's the thing you have the most control over.
I totally agree. Focus on what you can control. And what you can control is your website, right? So then I started looking at my website and what can I do differently. And then can I share my screen if that's okay with
Yeah.
you? And by the way, this is Pam's point of view. And everybody, you can have your own point of view. However, I just want to share with you what I have done. And I feel that is actually, some of it is working, some of them is not. And my name does show up when you type B2B marketing speakers, or if you type B2B marketing consultant, not agencies, or the different phrases related to that, it does come up. And sometimes it doesn't, depending on the day. Depends on how Claude and the Perplexity and the ChatGPT feel that day. All right, let me share my screen very quickly, everyone. So this is my website. I'm going to make it big so everybody can see. All right, cool. The first thing I do is actually modify my services pages. So in the past, I have 9 services pages. And they are keyword optimized. And when I say keyword optimized is I have a marketing strategy page, I have sales enablement page, I have a coaching page. Like I have specific my offering, I have a specific page for SEO. So in July last year, I did something completely different. Instead of optimize for keywords, I know that AI is very logical. If you think about it, whenever AI gives you responses, is by bullet points, or there's categories, there's a subcategory. So they are very logical thinker, right? So what I did, the first thing is I put my offering into categories. So I'm a speaker, so I do speaking and workshop, and I also do a lot of strategies. I also doing team trainings. I also doing leadership development. I also do a lot of content strategies and the content plannings and execution. So I build like 5 categories, and then underneath that, I actually create subcategories from my perspective that I offer, that I'm very good at it. And I also know, and I pick the terms that is also like people tend to search for it. So the first thing I did is clean up my offering. And I think that's very important.
Yes. So just to clarify, originally you had those buckets, and when you changed it last year, you kind of like you what did you change about the top level? Because then you added those subcategories, right? You were kind
Right.
of
So
like
before I have 9 service pages. They are
okay.
keyword driven. Then I changed this to be categories and then subcategories.
I
So it's
see. Okay.
easy for AI to comprehend.
How did you go about finding out how people were searching? Did you use keyword research?
I do keyword search, and I also looking into, like, for example, on the go-to-market strategy. People will say, I am looking for someone to actually help me on go-to-market strategy, or I'm looking for training that provide my team with the GTM. There are phrases that people use like when they enter. So when they enter into ChatGPT or any AI chatbot, they enter sentences.
Right.
Does that make sense? So
Yes.
you have to kind of imagine what kind of sentences you have to visualize in terms of the sentences they might enter, and also what are the keywords within the sentences that you need to incorporate into, say, the different service pages. So, and when I created service pages, a fractional CMO, for example, oh, this one I need to log in, but that is working. For every single service page, I also have a video to complement it. But if you log in, you can see the video. It's just I did not log into the YouTube channel. So so fractional CMO, like a part-time. So you can see I'm very intentional. It's a fractional CMO. There's also keywords, a part-time CMO, right? And when people looking for part-time, and then maybe there's a full-time that they are looking into it, that you possibly can drive the traffic into this specific page. So, and then like when I write each service page, I tend to address as questions. When do you need a fractional CMO versus full-time CMO? Like it's a question, right? And then I give a paragraph to explain it. And every single page, I have something say why. Why do you need, a part-time CMO? Why do you need a go-to-market a strategy? Why do you need a certain kind of training? And then what is my process? What is so unique about Pam? What is my process? So I talk about that by bullet points. And what are some of the pillars or the offerings that underneath the fractional CMOs, right? So I also did that. And then the one thing I did, of course, testimonial. One thing I really did is I added FAQs. For every single service page, I added the 6 to 8 FAQ. Because this is a purely for AEO, and why choose fractional instead of full time, right? So people do ask questions like this, and hopefully, when the AI chatbot, when somebody asks question similar to this, hopefully they can crawl your website and then serve up your answer. So for every single services, I write it in a way that why do you need it? And it's all about answering questions. So in the past, we tend to be like, we write a statement. Now I modify it as if I'm answering the question. And I also add FAQ as a part of the offerings. So that is a major change I want to share with everybody.
Yeah, the question format, I definitely have seen a lot of talk around. Yeah, because you basically are trying to make it as easy as possible for an LLM to find an answer to the person's question, and if it's literally the same question on another site with an answer, right? Like, that just makes it all the more easy. How did you source the FAQs? Was it similar to the navigation?
So actually we ask chatbot. We actually enter like the content of this copy, and then we ask chatbot like this is a target for a mid-sized company, and they have a very small team. So we created a specific situation, and our, who is our target customers that we want to come to this specific page, and then we ask chatbot to create say 10 FAQ related to this page, how we talk about a fractional CMO. And then I rewrote it. Every single FAQ is the AI wrote it first. I'm just very transparent. And I rewrote them. Because when AI wrote it, they wrote it very, very short. And then they are not necessarily my voice. And they also don't know my process. So, like, if I do fractional CMO, I have 30, 60, 90-day approach. AI is not going to know that. And
Right.
I'm the one will know that. And I kind of want to write it in a way that, hey, first 30 days, this is what I do, that kind of thing. But I have to balance this with AI search. So if my team and I actually have a very strong debate, and one of my team member was like, Pam, you should not add your personal voice into this because this is purely for AO. We want AI to read it while you adding your voice to it. So we have a massive debate internally about the FAQ. Should we just 100% optimize for machine? And Amanda, I cannot see myself doing that.
Yeah. Well, do you have an
I drew the
example?
line. I drew the line on that.
What's an
Anyway,
example of, like, you having your personality in it where there's a concern of that getting pulled? Was it just, like, it wouldn't make sense out of context?
great question, Amanda. When we were doing this, is we were betting. We were betting that this is going to get picked up by, say, AI. So if I write it very much AI optimized, in that case, maybe the probability of getting picked up will be substantially higher than I'm writing this content with Pam's voice. So it's more of that debate that, okay, if we write it 100% AEO versus, say, the score of AEO is only 75%, but it's more tailored for human to read, in that situation, which one get picked up by, to increase the AI visibility? At the end of the day, Amanda, just like you said, is AI visibility. So we were debating in terms of the probability, what kind of copywriting will get picked up by AI to increase the probability of AI visibility. Is that helpful?
Yeah, when you were saying, it's optimized for AI, do you mean sort of like the sentence structure of being like very kind of literal or being like,
Yes.
okay,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So the thing about the people don't want to talk about this, but I think it's very important to understand that we have to be very literal about this. At the end of the day, if you want to increase or that probability of AI visibility, it's all about attention to detail. It's how you write your copy. From my perspective, it's super critical. And I don't know if anybody really talk about that. And every time I read the literature, they don't talk about it in terms of how you should write your copy. From my perspective, that is one thing that's worth exploring and discussing. But if you read a lot of literature, they tend to focus on high level. I'm saying, oh, you should have FAQ. Okay, whatever. You should you should rewrite your website and to tailor for how AI read it. Well, then tell me how AI reads.
right, right. What does that
Give me a
actually
little
look
bit more
like?
insight and guidance.
So what has been your experience? So you did that. You went on your site. This is why I love having like this real example, right? Because like you said, we can say things all day, but like you're literally updating your website and trying to see
Updating
what
my
happens.
website. I'm really updating on regular basis. I drove my team to the ground. I swear to God. Because if you want to do an AEO right, it's literally in the trenches. You have to test things. You have to rewrite it. You have to kind of, and also the LLM change their algorithms on regular basis, and they never share, right? In terms, like at least on the Google search, they will kind of have a point of view. They will share with you in terms of they change the algorithm and how they change. They are not showing the holy grail, but they will tell you what has changed, and then you can act accordingly.
Yeah,
But LLM, they don't give us anything to work with. You have to make your own assumptions.
that's
So
true.
that's what I'm doing. I'm making my own assumptions in terms of how things should work. But that doesn't mean I am right. But at least everything I do, I'm able to articulate the thought process. Like I do FAQ. Okay, I was thinking AI have to crawl. I was thinking everybody ask questions. I was thinking, AI will provide short, digestible, and clear answers. Well, in that situation, it might as well crawl my site, right? So there is a very logical process or thinking behind it to help me making the changes.
Yeah, that makes sense. So how if people are listening who want to start doing this for themselves, like you said you ran your team into the ground.
I don't like, yeah, I like, don't do AEO. I'm kidding. No, you have to do AEO.
How how should they operationalize this? Like was it how how often are you tweaking? How often are you checking the results?
Okay, great questions. Every single question is great, Amanda. So the first things that I ask all my clients to do is you don't have to hire me. Like most of the time, Amanda, you have attended my session many times. Like I share everything and I would give people templates. And I always tell people like, you know what? I'm giving you information. You can do DIY. The first thing you can do literally is very easy. You can just upload the domain of your website. Like for example, www.pamdidner.com. You can just basically ask a ChatGPT, analyze www.pamdidner.com, which is, you can say that for your website, and identify the gap or identify, the gap or identify the steps I need to take to optimize this specific website for AEO. I told everybody to do that. I said the first thing is ask AI to please AI. Why don't you just ask AI that question? What can I do to optimize my own website? I'm telling you, they're gonna spill out tons of stuff that you're like overwhelmed. You're like, oh my God, these are the 100 tasks I have to do. That means my website kind of suck. And most of the time, your website doesn't suck. But the thing is, there's a lot of tedious things that you have to do to actually optimize it. Some of them are technical, some of them are back end, some of them are front end, some of them are copy, some of them are, the technical program or the coding that you have to do, right? So initially, I would just run that and get a sense of it, and then if you are a company, bring your web team, your website agency, your SEO agency. It just bring a bunch of people together and it kind of, just go through it. That's number one. But I can tell you one thing, that doing the SEO actually force many companies to reevaluate their offering. How can you make your offering so clear? So clear. There's no confusion whatsoever. AI read it, they know exactly what you offer. I always feel that's the first thing you need to address. That's what I address first.
There are so many hero sections of websites that I look at, and I still have no idea what they do.
No idea what they are doing.
And I'm like, if I have no idea, no one else,
No
like an
one knows.
LLM's not gonna know, like
I totally agree. They write it using a lot of big words and it sounds good, but when you give some thoughts on all those flowery words, it will like, I don't know, what do you offer? Are you a website? Are you a design agency, or you are a website agency, or you focus on SEO? Do you know how many times I go to like a vendor's website and I was like, I cannot tell what is your offering? So you are agency, but what part of digital marketing do you actually offer?
yeah, right. And that goes down, like you said, like, to the navigation, it all also helps users, like, you're right, like, a lot of these changes still help the user experience in just being extremely clear. One one thing I wanted to talk about is you've mentioned the difference between visibility and authority and some of the things that you've written.
Yes.
We're
Yeah.
talking about AI visibility, right?
Yeah, we are talking about AI visibility. I did not bring up AI authority.
Right. And I want to get into that because, especially like we talked about on the site, right? There's things you can do on your site that build authority. You have like the testimonials, you can have all of your experience.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
there's stuff you can do there. So there's the site, and then there's the stuff that exists off of your site to help reinforce that authority, right? So what has been what is your view from the B2B side? Like, what do you think is the most important for a business to kind of audit when they're deciding, maybe we're not showing up, as authoritative enough to people or to LLMs?
So, first of all, let me define what AI visibility versus AI authority. Okay, this it's just a slight difference. AI visibility is it just basically when if AI if you're asking like, oh, what kind of product should I use, and AI basically not necessarily will look at the authority. They will like, oh, what maybe the common product everybody's using. So they will serve up the product recommendation. But to me, that's visibility. It's just like, oh, there's probably a lot of people talking about your product. That doesn't mean that your product is the best. It's just a lot of people talking about it. Okay, fine. It will show up. That's a visibility. Like some people will say, oh, B2B marketer. It's like, okay, who are the B2B marketers? My name may show up. That's a visibility. But if somebody say, who are the best B2B speakers? Okay, that's authority. Does that make sense? So to me, the first things we have to address is visibility. We just want, you know what? If somebody say about specific categories, I want at least my product to show up. Okay. If some people are asking for specific challenges that related to my product, okay, fine. It doesn't have to be the best, but somehow I want my product to show up. Okay. So I have Nancy is not my client, but she called me up and basically said, "Hey, I want to pick your brain on the AEO stuff." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." And I usually, when people ask me specific questions, I always try to give them the best answer. And then she will say, "Pam, you know, our company is actually pretty big in Southern California." Okay. It's a construction company. But when I type like AI AEO, and I was like, like certain things, like specific category of a construction in Southern California. First of all, in the city of Orange County, didn't show up. Okay, in Southern California, didn't show up. So what Nancy did is like they show up 10, okay, not her company, and then immediately she say, "Give me next 10." Didn't show up. Then she didn't give up. "Give me next 20." Didn't show up. And then finally, "Give me next 30." Didn't show up. She was so mad. She was so mad. And from my perspective, it's nothing about authority. It's really about showing up. So the first things from my perspective, is I just want visibility. And so did Nancy. Nancy was like, "I just want my company's name to show up." Right. And by the way, if you really want that name to show up, the first thing you do, I say, "Nancy, this is just a side point before I address the question." I told Nancy, I was like, "You know what? If you are so big in Southern California, and a lot of people obviously know you, can I ask one specific question? In your website, any pages on your website, did you ever mention you are number one construction company in the Southern California? Ever mention in Southern California?" She said no. I was like, "Go fix that. Mention that. Make that as, I don't know, top boy in multiple pages, right?
I just need you in my life yelling, "Go fix that."
Go fix that." Like, can we just add in Southern California, like in like 5 pages? And then she laughed so hard. I was like, "Can you at least just fix that?" And if you search on Orange County, chances are other people are searching on Orange County. Did Orange County was mentioned on your website? Nope. Again, go fix that.
Yep. Yep.
So to
100%.
me, AI visibility should be your first priority.
Well, 'cause that's just proving that, how LLMs are currently seeing your site. If they're not appearing on that list at all, to your point, if they don't even mention Southern California, that means that they're not even the
They
LLM
don't
doesn't
know you are
know.
offering construction services in Southern California.
Right. So that's the bar. Like, the minute like,
That part right there.
you gotta
Can we
get
just
it,
fix that very
yeah,
quickly?
yeah.
So Nancy was like, "Okay, I'm gonna do that right away." I was like, "Good. Good for you. You should." And so that's AI visibility. That should be my first priority. That should be everybody's first priority from my perspective. And then once you actually have that, and then you can work on authority. The authority is very tricky, right? I mean, AI authority, it depends on how we don't know the algorithm in OpenAI, Perplexity, Gemini. We don't. We just don't know. And we don't know how they determine authority. We don't. So a lot of people will say, "Oh, authority, you need to be on the third party side. You need to get interview. You need to be interviewed by Forbes. You need to actually have a consistent presence actually in Reddit, whatever." Yes and no. I think that is one way of doing it. Okay. But I decided to take a different route for myself. So can I also share with you what I do for at least to beef up my authority as an individual consultant? Let me share my screen again. So what I did to add additional information to beef up Pam's authority is number one, the one thing I did is past events. So I add that. I want to show AI that I am a seasoned speaker, and I've been speaking. I started speaking in 2014, but I didn't go that far. So I literally during the holiday and just added all the events I spoke. So in 2026, I did the same thing. Like I actually work with my developer, like any kind of event, will move from the current event schedule to, this event page. This is a sign of authority. Like Pam is a seasoned speaker. Do you see it? So the first thing I did is add the past event.
It's the difference between saying I'm a speaker and providing evidence for the claim.
Yes, this is evidence to AI, right? And the other thing I did is a media, right? So like am I getting awards? Am I being mentioned anywhere? So I start gathering all the information in the past probably 3 or 5 years, like where I was mentioned, and I added that as well. So this is kind of like a press, if you will. So I add that. This is very specific, intentional addition to showcase that Pam is a thought leader. Does that make sense? Another thing I did for is in addition to have FAQ for each services page for each service page, I also create frequently asked question. This is like if you do work with Pam. No, I'm sorry. This one we actually debated for a long time too. We look into a category, growth ROI and the consulting process. This is related to Pam. AI strategy and workshops training, and the keynote speaking and event impact. You can see GTM, ABM, sales enablement. I'm very strategic about it, right? So these are my offering. So I am very consistent in terms of like, hey, if you do work with Pam on AI strategy, workshop, and training, what if you have any specific questions, what kind of questions do you have? And I want to make sure I address them. Do you see it? So I, instead of giving like a laundry list of FAQ, I categorize them, and they all tie back to the services that I offer. Is that helpful, Amanda? So
Yeah.
that's what I did. On the created a very separate FAQ page. And to beef up, authority, I added like, hey, AI, I'm a seasoned speaker. Let me show you why I'm a seasoned speaker. And I also have testimonial. And then this is 2026 events. Like I am fairly busy. So this is good. I'm very fortunate. So I listed all the speaking I have up to date. So it's to me, the authority has to be very discreet, that you focus on what you can control, right? So I don't have a huge PR budget. I cannot pay Forbes and $10,000 and just get an interview or even get an article published. I don't have that money. Who does?
In this
So
economy? Yeah.
yeah, thank you, Amanda. In this economy, I agree. So I'm thinking outside the box, like, okay, what can I do to discreetly showcase Pam's authority, right? And again, it comes back. I focus on what I can control, and to me, that's very important. And how can you beef up your website in a way that the AI come and AI will like, oh, okay, oh my God, AI, like she has spoken in over 100 events. I guess she might be a leader. You want at least like AI to assess it, right? So I'm giving enough information for AI to kind of see that, oh yeah, Pam may be a thought leader. But I don't know if AI is going to pick that up because I don't know the algorithm.
Well, something that I think is really beneficial to that approach is one of the things we write about a lot on the SEMrush and Backlinko blogs is this concept of consensus, that LLMs are constantly looking to verify information they're finding, right? They
Yes.
want like multiple proof points. So, you have inherently you'll have multiple because you're speaking at these conferences, which means your name is on the guest
Names will
the
show
speaker
up on
list.
those conferences.
And if
Yes.
if the LLM has any suspicion of like, okay, is this the same Pam Didner as the one at pamdidner.com? Well, now it
Yeah.
can 100% confirm that because you have that over there. So I think the consensus piece is really big and saying it, even if it's known outside of your site, confirming the same thing on your site just makes it all the more clear.
Yes, exactly. And another thing is on the third party exposure. Don't take me wrong, I think those are important, and that's something I probably will work on, throughout 2026 and 2027. But that's a slow and coming. In many ways, I want everybody to understand AEO is a marathon. It's a journey. It's not like SEO, you can kind of check, and then you can let it go for like 4 or 5 months or 6 months not to do anything about it, and then you come back and do another audit. I personally feel AEO is this constant optimization, and it's almost like feed the beast, more so than just SEO. SEO is also the feed the monster, but to me, the AEO, because AEO is searching 24/7, right? OpenAI shared the information that they are 2.5 every single day. There's 2.5 billion prompts, 2.5 billions. So out of that 2.5 billion, you have to bet somebody is searching for your product, right? And so you have to look into what you need to do to optimize your website. To me, this is not something that you should wait.
Yeah. And I mean, I think you're proof of you don't have to have the huge budget and, a huge
You
team.
just have to drive your team to the ground.
Yeah, that's it, everybody. Duh.
Oh my God. But if my team is listening, and I want to say thank you to every single one of you. I swear to God, I know that you guys were cursing like a drunken sailor working with me, but I am very grateful.
Well, I really appreciate you walking through all of your examples. I'll be curious to see keep us posted on what works and what doesn't, and
Yes, but I can tell you one thing though. Ever since like I optimized my website for AEO, I can tell you that you don't know how many inquiries I get. Like they schedule a call with Pam because you can go to my website to schedule a call with Pam, and whenever people schedule a call with me, the first question I ask is, "How did you find me?" Okay, and I can tell you this. I got 10 inquiries like in November and December, 10, which is not a lot. But anyway, it's fine. 10 out of 10 is ChatGPT.
wow. That's
10
I
out of 10.
mean,
They are sending the leads.
I assume originally it was SEO was where your
Yeah,
leads were coming from?
originally is SEO. A lot of time in the past, it's always like LinkedIn or that people attended my sessions. Like for example, Amanda, you and I met because you attended my session. So I have a lot of people that attended my session, and then over a period of time, they just reach out to me and say, "Hey Pam, can you help me on this?" Blah 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 blah. I say yes. But organic leads, I have never, it's literally 10 out of 10. Like, I found you on ChatGPT or Perplexity or Claw.
How did those like, when you have a kickoff call or a sales call with those folks, do you dig into it anymore? Or do you
I
go like
did. I usually ask them, I say, what phrases
exactly,
did you
right, that's
type?
what I was getting
And
at,
I was
yeah.
like, I'm very serious. I was like, thank you for sharing that. So what phrase, can you tell me what you type?
Pull up your chat
And
history.
I would like immediately like enter the information. And they several of them, and I closed 2 deals out of those 10, 2. And which is pretty good. I am very happy, by the way. And then what I did is I asked them specifically, and several of them they said I use Google and the chatbot interchangeably. So, and several of them, they will say, either they found me on Google and they go validate it on chatbot, or they started from chatbot and then they go search on LinkedIn and Google. So it either way, my name did come up, and I was like, okay, great.
Yeah, that you just touched on something that as search evolves, that's definitely what we're seeing, right? Like, the statistics are hard to about it's not good about painting the full picture because if you're just looking at just Google searches or just
Yeah, exactly.
ChatGPT searches, it's like, well, people are often doing both. Like, you're totally right.
Both.
Like, I'll go search for something in Google, then I'll take, like, a couple of the results and I'll put them in ChatGPT and be like, "Tell me the pros and cons." and then I'll go to G2 or something and see the reviews and, like, it's just this whole process, right?
Exactly. So, but anyway, it has been a fun and a frustrating journeys. I say two F words. Fun. Well, let me emphasize frustrating first. Two F words is always frustrating, and then the next one is fun. So, it has been really eye-opening for me and also for my team because we've been working on this actually since July last year. And it was a lot of work. You can see there was a lot of work that put into my website.
Yeah. I think that's important, the prioritization, right? Start with your site, start with what you control, as you said, and then go into the external side. Pam, this has been so much fun. If people wanna follow this journey that you're on, or read all of your, great insights on the B2B world, where can they find you?
Come to my website and reach out to me, connect with me on LinkedIn. And I'm more than happy to answer any questions you may have because I know how hard it is to be a marketer in the modern world. And it's hard. And I am in a trench all the time. And Amanda is as well. So she can attest to that, how hard
Yeah.
and challenging it can be. And so reach out to me anytime if you have any questions and connect with me. It's all good.
Awesome. Thank you again, Pam, and thank you all so much for listening. If you want an invite to the after party, sign up for our newsletter. That's where we drop exclusive behind the scenes tidbits and the guest's answer to our spicy question of the month. This month, our spicy question is, what's the most overrated best practice in marketing right now? Until next time, keep learning, keep testing, and keep showing up.